Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I'm a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun.
Okay, has anybody been injured, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the table, kids. Heads under the table.
Rachel Scott was the first student to be killed in that terrible tragedy at Columbine High School on April 20th, 1999. Rachel had written an essay a month before she died that reflected her actions and beliefs. She titled it, My Ethics, My Codes of Life.
When Rachel wrote her essay to start a chain reaction with kindness and compassion, she had already been practicing that for several years in her school, and she had been reaching out to others. And when she said, I have this theory that if one person will go out of their way to show compassion, it will start a chain reaction of the same. People will never know how far a little kindness will go. That wasn't a theory for her. She had been practicing that for the past several years. Rachel challenged her reader to look for the best in others, to start that chain reaction and to make a difference in the lives of people around them. You know what's amazing to me is that Rachel not only wrote a challenge to start a chain reaction that would touch the lives of others, but she somehow sensed that her life was going to touch and impact the lives of millions of people. We found something she had written and drawn on the back of an old dresser. When she was 13 years old, she drew an outline of her hands, and in the center of one of her hands she said, these hands belong to Rachel Joy Scott and will someday touch millions of people's hearts. And it's almost as though she knew her life was going to have an impact that it has had after her death on millions of people.
Daryl has shared Rachel's story with over 5 million people in audiences around the globe, fulfilling Rachel's prediction that her life would affect millions of hearts. Daryl has also appeared on Oprah, Larry King Live, Good Morning America, The Today Show, The O'Reilly Factor, CNN, and numerous other programs. He has addressed the United States Congress and has met with the President on several occasions to discuss issues of school violence. Tough guy Chuck Norris was so impacted by Rachel's story that he dedicated his autobiography to her memory.
Actually, this book is dedicated to Rachel Scott, the girl who was killed in the Columbine shooting. And main reason I did that, I dedicated because I'm real good friends with her dad.
In the years following her death, a school program called Rachel's Challenge emerged through the efforts of her father. That program has now been successfully experienced by over 1,000 schools in America, Canada, Bermuda, Germany, and South America. President Bush wrote a letter in which he said, I commend Rachel's Challenge for making a difference in our schools and our neighborhoods. Rachel's Challenge is far more than just another school assembly. The assembly is only the first of several steps that have a lasting impact on the school.
It's just, you know, spaceless, man. It's sad, it's powerful.
And these kids listen. You know, we have other assemblies, they all there hollering. Teachers have to go and calm them down. Everybody, this was the best. Everybody listened, and they were attentive, and there were tears in the crowd.
I've never stuck up for anybody except for my friends, and I'm planning to stick up for everybody else.
Now that I've seen that people can actually be that way, I'm going to try to notice people that, like she does, that don't have very many friends or that are new here.
Just having this hour program, I'm eager to go change somebody's life right now.
Following the assembly, the presenter conducts a 1-hour training session with the school leadership. This session is both instructional and interactive. The purpose of the training is to equip the leaders in the school to continue the chain reaction of kindness, respect, and acceptance that Rachel started.
I've been to a lot of assemblies, but to have a bunch of middle school students at the edge of their seats, I think you learn a lot from all this.
It has changed, no question, the hearts of a lot of the kids, and not only the kids, the adults that were present at all the events in the schools.
It was just so overwhelming and incredible to see students that were big, burly, tough, especially guys that you'd never think in a million years would cry or would be vulnerable, and they were. They were coming up and telling their teachers that they loved them and they appreciated them. Had one kid in the school that had been a bully and was beating up kids the other kids were scared of. He was just devastated by this program and just cried and went to his teacher, went to the people that he had hurt and apologized for that.
I mean, I'm not sure I've ever been this inspired by something that, for someone who came out and obviously meant a lot to a lot of people.
A training manual and numerous follow-up tools ensure that the impact will last for months to come.
We saw a need at Rachel's Challenge to bring in a group of professionals to help us design curriculum that can help ensure an ongoing impact in the schools. The assembly itself is extremely powerful, and the desire to create a positive change is powerful too, but we wanted to ensure that lasting impact by having some follow-up tools and materials.
One of the tools at Rachel's Challenge is a 10-foot by 3-foot banner that's placed inside the school. And after the assembly, you should just see the kids rushing up to sign it, and the teachers as well sign it. And it's so powerful because by signing it, they're saying, I accept Rachel's Challenge and I'll treat others with kindness.
The training manual that we leave behind has a lot of great information and just gives the school a lot of practical steps of things that they can do to create that positive change in their school.
The speakers, who are personally trained by Rachel's father, challenge audiences with the story of a young girl who believed she could help change the world one person at a time. 5 specific challenges emerge from Rachel's life that caused the audience to respond with tears, laughter, and applause.
One of the things that we've realized with Rachel's Challenge is that you can't go tell kids, stop being prejudiced. Our purpose statement says that we want to go to the student's heart, and then we're going to go to their head. The first thing we do is we tell them to eliminate all prejudice in their life, and we see it happen because we go directly to their heart. The second thing we do is we say, keep a journal, keep diaries, set goals, and the kids begin to do it because we went to their heart. The third thing we tell them to do or ask them to do is to be aware of your influences, because your influences make such a big impact in your life. And we get testimony after testimony of students changing the influences in their life to have positive influences. The fourth challenge that we leave them when we're in the schools is that we say the little things can do so much, because Rachel did the little things. And we challenge the students to not only do the little things in their schools, but to do it in their communities and to do it in their homes. And that's where your legacy is left, with those small things. And the fifth challenge that we leave them is we tell them not only to love on those kids at school who need it, to love on those kids who are new at school, to love on the handicapped kids, but we also challenge them to leave and go find 5 people in the next week that mean a lot to them in their lives, and to show how much they appreciate them. And what happens because of the fact that we start with the heart and not with the head is we see it happen instantaneously. We get thousands of emails after we've been in schools talking about how the student's life's been changed because we start with the heart.
Students hear the story of a young girl who was new at school and had no friends. No one knew that her mom had just died in a car wreck, and that she and her dad and brothers had just moved to Colorado from Atlanta, Georgia. They see a reenactment of how Rachel went out of her way to sit with this new student at lunchtime, introducing her to new friends. They hear about a young man who was born with handicaps and was planning to commit suicide on the day that Rachel intervened on his behalf and stopped others from teasing him. They hear the story of another young man who was taunted with racial slurs just moments before he died, sitting beside Rachel's brother Craig in the library at Columbine. They see segments of her diaries that will amaze them. They actually read things she wrote about her premonitions of dying at a young age, and at the same time of having an impact on millions of lives.
One of the things that's important to know is that Rachel was not suicidal in the least. She was not obsessed with death, and she wasn't a dark personality. She was very vibrant and full of life. But she definitely had a premonition that her life was going to end at a young age. And she wrote about that, talked about that to her friends. And at the same time, that her short life was going to have an impact on the world.
They are inspired by Rachel's Challenge to start a chain reaction of kindness. Rachel's Challenge is making a huge difference on the campuses of many middle schools and high schools around the world. Make sure you have this powerful program at your school.